Hey guys, it's Lauren and I'm about to present you with my third video on Imajax. You just slipped your mind. Let's refresh with a definition. If images have more to their mission than the description of an alleged authenticity that is external to them but are themselves variable actions, then it stands that not only the spoken or signed word, but the presented image is, at least in part, its own referent. Thus, it is an authentic, original document, a presentation rather than a representation. Too many words in that definition to follow? What Bakewell is basically trying to say is that a picture is not just a picture, but it has more meaning to it. When you look at a picture, you're not just looking at an image, but taking away inherent meaning with it. What this idea of an image act arrives from is the idea of a speech act. In her article, she revisits this idea of a speech act, so let's take a further look at where this derivative of image acts comes from.
If you having girl problems, I feel bad for you, son. I got 99 problems, but a bitch ain't one.
So as you just looked at that word, what exactly did you feel? In her article, Bakewell states that words are hardly unobtrusive or harmless. On the contrary, words can accuse, denounce, or actually harm people, and they can also flatter, promote, and benefit these same people. So for the word bitch, if you're a woman, you may feel extremely offended, or at the same time you may have felt a sense of pride, as sometimes women see the word bitch and think of themselves as a strong, independent woman, and if you're a male, you may have laughed or felt nothing, or felt offended. Bakewell states that the slang for sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me, is not true, as words always have inherent meaning behind them, and people will take something behind them, and this is the sense between speech acts, and therefore this is where she comes up with her term of image acts. And the same thing goes, and if you see an image, you will take something away from them. And as we discussed in class, there are 5 main types of image acts, and they are So in class we gave several specific examples of what certain image acts within these categories might be, such as tattoos, which we said would be image acts because they are considered carrying a story on your body. So if you have a tattoo, you don't just have an image, you get these tattoos for specific personal reasons that you want to be carrying around these images on your body. Now, another example that we brought up in class was pornography, which is an example that Bakewell also mentions in her article, and she notes that another researcher, Catherine McKinnon, argues that pornographic pictures are not merely words, but also acts, rather than images, but these are acts of violence. And Catherine McKinnon points out that the Supreme Court has consistently protected the production of visually explicit violence, which she would argue includes pornography, although by invoking the First Amendment, even though it condemns the same violence against actual children and places some speech outside the amendment's protection. So let's take a look at an example of this. While this of course is just an ad and not straight from porn itself, it can still of course be argued as a pornographic image and a violent image ad. And the fact that it is from an ad and therefore more in a mainstream area would make it more reason that it should be argued in this idea of why it is not placed under the production of visually explicit image under the First Amendment. And why it is not considered a hate image. This image obviously seems to be glamorizing rape crimes and violence against women, and further represents this idea of an image act, as this is clearly not just an image, but seems to be sending a message and an action, and a violent message and action at that. So while the hate image and hate crime in that ad and pornographic image seem to be against a woman's body, I'd like to present another hate image, which is not exactly a pornographic image, but it includes just as much of a hate crime against a woman's body. Well, the last image depicted a hate crime in the hate image as a glamorization of rape. This image shows a self-invoked hate crime where the model has starved herself to the point where she is just skin and bones. This image, I believe, really shows what Bakewell is trying to prove in her article with what an image act is. As we stare at this photo, we do not just see a skinny model, but cannot help but be filled with emotion. This model is obviously not healthy, and we cannot help but feel something when we stare at this image. That's the end of my video on image acts. I hope you guys learned a little bit, kind of refreshed your memory on what we went over, and maybe brought up some new points, and I hope you have a good day.